got a reincarnation coming back from the dead, talking to God. We got stabbings. We got a shooting mystery. We got a potential fed case being overturned. This is all insane. And I'm here to make sense of all of it and to cover everything. So let's get into it. Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times in prison by a medical who's currently serving a life sentence.
We just want to stop there, man. The fact that my dog had to be stabbed 14 times, Lord, Jesus Christ. But the Lord was on his side. The Lord was on his side. That was an assassination, but he's still breathing. Prayerfully still in the good spirit. Woo! What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? It's your boy Larry Love from the BNB Universe 11. How y'all doing today? Having a good day? Y'all feeling blessed? I pray y'all feeling blessed. From Flago. They say the Tory Lanez situation just got worse. She's in trouble.
The last 24 hours in Tory Lanez's life has been nothing short of a movie. This is like something I've never seen before, and I've been doing content for about 2 years now. This is insane, bro. We got a reincarnation coming back from the dead, talking to God. We got stabbings. We got a shooting mystery. We got a potential Fed case being overturned. This is all insane, and I'm here to make sense of all of it and to cover everything. So let's get into it. Tory Lanez was stabbed 14 times in prison by a Mexican who's currently serving a life sentence.
We just gonna start there, man. The fact that my dog had to be stabbed 14 times, Lord, Jesus Christ. But the Lord was on his side. Lord was on his side. That was an assassination, but he's still breathing. Prayerfully still in good spirits. I'm gonna have a great recovery. That's insane, though. An assassination? You try to take his life? For what?
And had to be airlifted from out the prison to a local hospital. Apparently, the injuries range from a collapsed lung. He got stabbed in the head, stabbed in the back. Tory thought he was a goner. He thought he was for sure dead. Because even with a collapsed lung, God gave him enough strength and fortitude to still be able to tell his daddy that if this is his last day, he made good with God.
Did not suffer superficial wounds. He was stabbed 14 times, 5 times in his back, 1 under his left cheekbone. In fact, his jaw was open. He was stabbed twice in the back of his head, and the rest in his torso, arms, and in his chest. It may seem sensational, but thankfully, like Dr. King, it was close to his heart, but did not penetrate.
Thank God.
After that, he was being rushed to a facility nearby in a vehicle in which he said, and I quote, "Dad, I thought it was my last." And having made my peace with God, I said, okay, God, is this how it's supposed to end for me? And God said no. God told him, do not give up. The car, upon which he turned to the attending officers and he said, you must get me to wherever is the closest place that I can get to. I'm bleeding out here. My boat, he didn't even know his lungs had collapsed. All he knows is that he couldn't breathe. He could hardly speak. Upon which the officer turned around and looked at him and said, nah, we got to take him. He has to be airlifted.
There's a lot of conspiracies floating around surrounding why Tory Lanez was stabbed. Even there was conspiracies floated around at the press conference today with his father there and his attorneys there. and Rock Nation was brought up, and Megan Thee Stallion was brought up, and we're gonna cover that. But before we can even cover that, we have to cover who exactly stabbed Tory Lanez.
Exactly.
This is who did it. His name is Santino Sonny Castillo. The strangest part about this, too, is once he did it, the Mexicans were quick to come out and say, nah, bro, yo, he a renegade. He's not even a part of us. He's just like some renegade who just went wild on Tory Lanez.
Nah, boy.
I'm assuming that was said to sort of stall out the tension and to not cause a riot. There's only one thing worse than being stabbed 14 times and having your lung collapse, and that's being stabbed 14 times by a pedo. Sonny was sentenced to life in prison for shooting and killing his 13-year-old girlfriend after an argument.
Goofy.
So the paperwork says that two relatives heard 22-year-old Santino Sonny Castillo arguing with his blank girlfriend. We can't say the age on YouTube.
Hey, having a 13-year-old girlfriend as a grown-ass man is already insane enough. But for you to not be, I mean, obviously you going out the 13-year-olds, but for you to not be emotionally stable enough and mentally stable enough to be going through a problem with this young lady, or for this young lady to not be wanting you no more, and you decide that you're going to shoot her close range with a fucking shotgun in her face, something wrong. That's crazy. There's something wrong. There's something wrong. You should be put under the jail. Sorry.
Minutes before she was shot in the face with a shotgun, they testified at Castillo's trial on Wednesday. Castillo is facing murder charges for the death of his girlfriend, along with a special allegation that the crime was committed with a firearm. He is also accused of two separate attempted murders with the special allegation of using a knife and causing great bodily injury. So while in prison, he done stabbed other inmates as well, all right? So Ruby Perez, Castillo's cousin, now this is the disgusting part. There was a lot of people complicit letting this man live with that little girl. So live with the defendant and his little girlfriend, Evelyn Brenda Sandajas, in Perez's apartment in the 1100 block of East Avenue. Perez was getting ready to go out with her friend, Eileen Gonzalez, who was also related to Castillo, about 10 p.m. June 8th of 2002, when they heard Castillo and Sandajas fighting, and Perez saw Sandajas crying, she testified. Gonzalez and Perez went outside so that Perez could smoke. Minutes later, they heard a shotgun blast, Perez says. Within seconds of the shot, Perez and Gonzalez testified they saw Castillo running from the house. I met Castillo at the door, Gonzalez says. He just looked really pale and shocked or scared and said, I've got to get out of here. He looked like a zombie, Perez confirmed. I've never been to prison, but whenever I hear stories of prison, it's usually tough dudes telling us how they regulate and they got morals, and how guys like Sonny who do crimes like he did are not allowed to be on the floor with them, how they pack it up and roll it up and they go to PC. So my question is, why was this guy openly being able to live around people like Tory Lanez? Why was this guy able to have enough freedom to be, to potentially hurt Tory Lanez? I thought guys like this are essentially like subjugated to like the corner of the jail, and they live in shame forever, and they can never show their face again. It looks like he was having a good old time. Now, to me, the most interesting part about this, bruh, is how I've seen certain Latino creators was running to YouTube to say that this dude who stabbed Tory Lanez, he was not Mexican. And people like myself and Whack 100, we were lying, and it was another black man who did it to Tory Lanez.
It wasn't no Mexicans. It wasn't. I'm not gonna make this video super long and stretch the truth out, because the truth is the truth. And I don't know too much of detailed information, but I know it sure was not no Hispanics. So whatever Whack 100 is saying, he's spinning the narrative, maybe trying to cause friction.
I love my Hispanics. Don't get me wrong, I love them. But that man, he's standing hard on the fact that it wasn't no Hispanics. It wasn't none. He said, I don't know too much of the details, but I can let y'all know it wasn't a Hispanic. It wasn't.
Between the brothers and the essays, whether it was the Northerners or Southerners, it doesn't matter. I feel like how how is that man always the first one to know information? Am I right or am I wrong? How is he magically somehow the first one that knows everything? So with that being said, they told me it wasn't no racial shit. It was one of Tory Lanez's own people, one of his own races.
Oh man.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, this boy over here just lying. Hey chat, he over here lying his ass off. He lying his ass off. He getting off the good lies though, the good lies. You can tell by the way he talking that he lying.
It wasn't
Look at that
a
boy
riot.
eyes.
It wasn't nothing that happened inside of a dorm, which can only mean he's on the 1 and 2 yard. But I just want to clear that up with you guys and like this video.
You see how comfortable people are with lying on social media
They're
now?
lying.
This man ain't getting no call from nobody, bro. This man turned on his camera, hit record, and said, hey, bro, I'm going to try to go viral any way possible, bro. And that comes with going against the grain, right? Lying and saying that it wasn't no Hispanics or Mexicans who did it, and we're liars, and the people who did it was actually black, and it was Tory Lanez's own people who did it to him. It was a backdoor. This is what I'm talking about, bro. I don't know what's the motivation for y'all to come on this app and lie with a straight face like that, bro, but that needs to stop, and that's out of control. And then somebody else will make a completely false story claiming, oh, Tory Lanez brought this upon. See, first it was, oh, a Mexican ain't do this, a Hispanic ain't do this, we could never do this. And now it's Tory Lanez brought it upon himself because Tory Lanez was talking about this man's wife. Man.
Once again, please allow me to give you guys yet another update, right? Because I did my background check. You can check out the full video on Renegade Media on YouTube. But this is the suspect that stabbed Tory Lanez, right? In Tehachapi State Prison. And I already explained why he stabbed Tory Lanez for disrespecting his wife at visit, saying a couple, derogatory words on the tier about his wife. And the man took initiative to defend his wife. And
Hold on, bro. You sound goofy as shit. Love the fuck you are. You sound goofy as shit. Time out. You gonna come on here and say that Tory Lanez got stabbed, attempted assassinated the way that he did because he spoke bad about this man's wife? This man shot his 13-year-old girlfriend in the face. Now he's currently locked up for it. What wife? What wife? What wife did he disrespect, Goofy? Please let me know. Let me know. What wife did he disrespect, guy? Boy, I'll be saying anything on the internet. Anything.
and stab another inmate. That's why I said it's not really going to be a racial war. And if it does happen, so be it. That's in prison. But I always said it was personal. But let me tell you guys why he's in prison.
Tory Lanez, who's like a multi-platinum, super successful, super famous artist, who probably got like women beaten down in jail to come and visit him. You think that man is looking at any woman who is coming to that jail, looking for a man who was convicted of the things that Cassia was convicted of? Cut it out, bruh. That don't even, now respect to this YouTuber, because I don't know him, right? Because so I can't even call his credibility into question. Shout out to him. I'm just saying I'm not buying it. Tory Lanez is a multi-platinum artist, bro, who probably got BBL vixens beating down that prison door to visit him almost every week. You think that man is looking at a woman who's there to visit Cassia? Man, cut it out, bro. That don't even sound like Tory Lanez's character. So, but there's various conspiracy theories floating around, right? So today, Tory Lanez's family and his attorneys, they did a press conference, and during this press conference, they also floated out the idea that Megan Thee Stallion and Roc Nation may be involved in this.
Recently, we've been made aware that a member of the media, Mr. Gianno Caldwell, was working on an op-ed for the New York Post regarding Mr. Peterson's innocence. During his work on that op-ed, he became aware of some information in Unite the People's possession regarding a statement that was given to Unite the People by someone with information relevant to that case. The New York Post recently reached out to the prior district attorney, George Gascon, Megan Pete and her representatives, and Kelsey Harris and her representatives. The only party that responded was last week was Megan Pete's representatives with a request for more information.
Mm.
A few days later, Mr. Peterson's brutally attacked in his jail.
Oh my goodness. Hey, look. But y'all don't believe in nothing. Y'all don't be believing Nathan. All I hear is, y'all really believe these people got that much power? Y'all put too much power on these people. No, y'all just choose to ignore it, man. And they do the same thing every time they use a woman, because they know y'all just gonna fall for it. Y'all just gonna go. They say, oh my goodness, a woman was in danger. Y'all just gonna jump. Y'all don't care about motive, real evidence, nothing. They can put whatever together. They can make an AI video and y'all can be like, nope, it happened. That shit crazy, boy. Lord, please protect me. Please.
If Megan was managed by anybody else, I will look at Tory Lanez and his team and laugh him out the building. I would bro, get out, bro. You're crazy. Like, what, like Megan Thee Stallion, like put a hit out on Tory Lanez? But she's managed by Roc Nation. And the only man I feel like the industry fear more than Diddy is Jay-Z. Jay-Z is like Diddy, but Jay-Z is just way more cunnier, way more underhanded. Jay-Z is super slick. Diddy was just an absolute tool who was moving wild and free out here. Jay-Z is a mastermind.
A mastermind.
Jay-Z got somebody underneath him called Desiree Perez, who, if you guys don't know, she was working for the cartel before she wore a wire on a cartel. Desiree Perez is somebody who could pick up a call and get you more money than you deserve on any deal you want in this industry due to the stronghold she has on this industry. And it's still a mystery. It's still a mystery. Why Desiree Perez has a stronghold on the industry. Desiree Perez isn't somebody with a lot of experience. She isn't somebody who had this super and uber illustrious career in the industry. Desiree Perez essentially came out of nowhere, started working for Jay-Z after snitching on the cartel.
Jesus.
And Desiree Perez right now is like the most powerful woman in the industry, and nobody knows why. Nobody has a clue. Nobody knows, bruh.
Nobody.
Why is the industry bowing down to Desiree Perez? Is it because of her connection to Jay-Z? It can, because a lot of people is connected to Jay-Z. There's a lot of agents and employees at Roc Nation. Desiree Perez just happens to have the juice. And one can say it's probably the ties to the cartel. She probably knows how to make the skeletons disappear. So because Megan Thee Stallion is managed by Desiree Perez, and Desiree Perez have shown she has a vendetta against Tory Lanez, it feels like there could be something to it, man. I'm not ready to say yes, but Desiree Perez, man, and that subject is just... Desiree Perez is the only woman to ever openly rat, and every rapper embrace her.
Gee.
This isn't a woman who told as a bystander. No, she told after she was engaged in helping the cartel traffic hella drugs. This is a woman you don't want to play with, bro. Even me speaking about her, I feel uncomfortable.
Shit, me
Tory Lanez
listening to you speak about her, I'm feeling
I'm
uncomfortable.
being real with y'all, bro. But them throwing that out there like that, I think is kind of irresponsible, because if you don't know for a fact, I guess you're just throwing the facts out there. Hey, bro, this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened, and you're not really assigning any links to what happened, but just putting it out there this way sort of assign blames to Megan Thee Stallion for Tory Lanez stabbing. Now, the evidence and the proof that they're talking about that the dude from Rolling Stone is apparently writing a story on is Kelsey, Tory, and Megan were the three people in the vehicle along with Tory Lanez's bodyguard. Those are the four people who know exactly what took place and who shot who that night. Kelsey testified. Well, Kelsey told the police off the stand when she first did her interview that Tory Lanez shot Meg. Meg said that Tory Lanez shot her. Tory Lanez is saying, I don't know who shot her. It wasn't me. However, there's been a lot of speculations that Kelsey is who fired the gun, because Tory Lanez's DNA wasn't found, gun residue wasn't found on Tory Lanez, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Kelsey was never tested for gun residue. Well, Kelsey's bodyguard, who apparently was working for Kelsey and her husband, and I guess he's fired now, right? So her disgruntled security guard, or former bodyguard and driver, he has came forward to claim that he overheard Kelsey telling her husband that she was the one who fired the gun.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Miss Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was in close proximity and he had privy to conversations she was having with her husband and others. Mr. James informed us he was not under a non-disclosure agreement or a confidentiality agreement and was free to speak with Unite the People, and that he was doing it because his conscience would not let him not speak and leave a man in prison for something he did not do.
Amen.
Mr. James informed Unite the People that he was a witness to the conversation Miss Harris had where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, Mr. Peterson grabbed her arm and knocked it down, and the gun fired 2 more times. In essence, Mr. Peterson never shot anybody, never even touched that gun, never fired the gun.
When it was announced last night, they had a press conference with bombshell information that would set Tory free. We thought they found a video of Kelsey doing this, but essentially what they said is hearsay, right? Like, I personally don't feel like this is enough to get Tory Lanez free. I don't feel like this is enough to get him a pardon. I don't think, an entire trial going on and then a disgruntled employee of Kelsey coming out and claiming that Kelsey was telling her husband that she was the one who shot Megan. That's not going to change anything, bro, like at all, bro. First off, the disgruntled employee ain't really that credible from the court's perspective. Now, again, hey, who knows? To me, Kelsey ain't 100% innocent in this. I don't know exactly what Kelsey's role is, but I think Kelsey did some dirt that night, which is why Kelsey had to get the full immunity before she testified.
Yep.
She got full immunity before she testified.
Full immunity.
Full immunity is for people who committed a crime and they don't want to incriminate themselves. So, but still, I don't feel like a disgruntled employee coming out and claiming that she said this is enough to overturn a conviction. It just won't happen. This is not a bombshell, to be honest. I think this, at the very least, is shocking, it's surprising, but no court is going to take this in as evidence, bro. It's not going to happen at all. This, to me, just sort of helped the public perception, but it's not really going to help the court case at all.
This statement aligns with the statement of the only non-party witness to the case, Mr. Sean Kelly, who at trial testified he saw 2 women fighting, 2 men break up the fight, 1 man grabbed the other one's arm. Gunshots came from the passenger side. The passenger side is where Miss Harris was sitting. This further iterates that Mr. Peterson did not shoot Miss Pete, did not shoot at Miss Pete, or did not assault Miss Pete. It's just another irregularity in a list of irregularities in this case. For example, there were 3 potential suspects in the car that night, and yet the only DNA sample was taken of Mr. Peterson.
Yep.
They're saying a lot of good stuff, and a lot of stuff can possibly change somebody in the public's mind. But retrying the case in the public isn't really going to do anything for Tory Lanez from my perspective. Now, Tory Lanez being stabbed may be something. Maybe they could use this to parlay this into, I don't know, serving, like home detention, maybe getting deported early so he don't have to serve the full sentence. Because, bro, being deported back to Canada, a first world country, to me, that's a whole lot better than doing 10 years in prison. But y'all let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this? Do y'all believe this is enough proof to exonerate Tory Lanez?
I
Let
wish
me
it
know, okay? And
would.
if you're still watching, man,
I
click
wish
on
it
this video here
would.
somewhere on my screen. Somewhere here on my screen, somewhere here.
There's been a lot of explosive evidence being released on the heels of Tory Lanez being assaulted in a California prison. So y'all know I had to get y'all updated on everything going on. Make sure y'all hit that like button. I need a quick 500 likes. But I knew that girl Kelsey was really the one who allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion the whole time. So yesterday they held a press conference on behalf of Tory Lanez, and Kelsey Harris' bodyguard finally broke his silence, and he revealed that Tory Lanez never shot a gun. And he also revealed that he overheard a conversation where Kelsey Harris admitted she shot the gun, she had the gun, and she was the one that fired off the shots.
Not long ago, Unite the People was approached by a gentleman named Bradley James. Mr. James informed us he was working as the bodyguard and driver for Miss Kelsey Harris during Mr. Peterson's trial. As such, he was a witness to the conversation Miss Harris had, where she stated she had the gun, she fired it 3 times, or was it taken and again simply not given to the defense?
Ain't no way I still believe Tory popped mid, because to me, it was obvious that he didn't. Even Megan Thee Stallion at first defended Tory Lanez, even used words like, I was trying to protect him. So for him to get convicted is still crazy to me. Even Wack 100 had to shed more light on the bodyguard statement, and he let it be known he stood with Tory Lanez from the beginning.
I told all y'all close to a year ago, well, even prior to, Tory didn't shoot that girl. I told y'all, Tory did not shoot that girl. All y'all that was pro this, pro that, now y'all gotta pay attention to the bigger play. Y'all heard the lady. See, I didn't know nothing about the security guard coming forward, telling the truth. I knew that the DNA came back 100% not him. Mm-hmm. And they kept it from him doing trial, and they used the other one. They said it could be, maybe it can't be. It was 3 tests. 2 of them came back 100% not him after the fact. I told y'all Tory didn't shoot that girl. Then the day after, they go submit the new evidence of the security guard saying he witnessed who pulled the trigger. Tory get hit 14 times. I told y'all Monday, I said somebody sent that at him. I talked to him too much. His spirit, his soul, his attitude. I'm listening to people come to his door when he's on his little iPad talking to me. Everybody helping, every 10 out of 10 people. Hey, Tory, you think you, yeah, I'm gonna make that call. Hey, Tory, thanks, bro, that happened for me. I'm hearing it. You're not gonna get me to believe he just didn't jumped up. He knows appeal date is coming up, and now he tripping. He ain't side with no Crips, with no Bloods. He went in there being Tory Lanez, tending to his business, found a way to help the people on the yard that could never get no help. Nah, man, y'all gotta pay this some attention. That lady, she got a point. A day after we submit, after they submit, that we got the security guard saying he witnessed who fired the gun.
That's not what we said, though.
We got this dude right here ain't nothing about this dude talking about this other bozo talking about Tory disrespected dude's wife on a visit. Man, get the fuck. That ain't even Tory character. That dude, that social media dude, everybody need to unfollow and block dude. You in violation. You a Northano telling us what a Sudanio did with a brother, with a non-affiliate brother. Come on, bro. Who paid you to do that?
Mm-hmm. That's what I want to know.
Who paid you to do that?
Who paid him to do
Free
that?
Tory.
Free Tory.
Bro, be home. That which couldn't only made him stronger. Stay tuned.
Hopefully this new statement works in Tory Lanez's favor, and maybe he may be able to get back on an appeal or some way finish out his sentence on house arrest. But as far as that Mexican go poking Tory Lanez up in that California prison, a YouTuber by the name of Renegade Media, but he did some homework on Sonito Casio, being that he is also Mexican, and he actually claimed to have served time in that same prison that Tory Lanez got assaulted. He claims Sonito is not a part of any Mexican gangs, and he claims the real reason he did what he did to Tory Lanez was because Tory Lanez disrespected him. He says Tory Lanez told Sonito when he gets out, he gonna beat his queen. Think it was all personal, had nothing to do with extortion or any other prison gang politics. But I still believe that the blacks will respond and make an example for what that Mexican did to Tory Lanez.
Once again, please allow me to give you guys yet another update, right? Because I did my background check. You can check out the full video on Renegade Media on YouTube. But this is the suspect that stabbed Tory Lanez, right? In Tehachapi State Prison. And I already explained why he stabbed Tory Lanez, for disrespecting his wife at visit, saying a couple, derogatory words on a tier about his wife. And the man took initiative to defend his wife and stab another inmate. That's why I said it's not really going to be a racial war, and if it does happen, so be it. That's in prison. But I always said it was Everybody kept hitting me up about the Tory Lanez situation, and I was like, look, man, the narrative all over the social media was false. It really was, man. They kept saying it was extortion, or he refused to pay taxes to a Mexican, and the point I was trying to make is like, bro, no. And I said it was personal. So I just gave you guys an understanding, like, man, if a Mexican was to do this and a Mexican did do this, but I hadn't looked into it yet as deep because I really didn't want to. I'm gonna drop these. I don't really care what happens to Tehachapi State Prison or Tory Lanez, but everybody was like, man, it was black on black. He tried to get a dude DP'd and yada, yada, yada. So let's get into the story, all right? Everybody kept just approaching me like, man, it was a black dude, it wasn't a Mexican. Everybody's trying to instigate race wars and all this and this and that. And I was like, all right. They said Whack 100 is just instigating situations with Mexicans and blacks. I'm like, man, that's that man's prerogative, bro. It's not mine, bro. I'm on the bigger and better things in life, bro. I'm trying to figure things out. So eventually I just got tired of it. I was like, all day today, I was like, man, dude, like, I was getting my face later when I was getting the messages, and I was like, all right, let me go ask somebody real quick. And like I said, I only got contact with certain prisons, and it's once in a while, bro. The boys are clapped up. Every once in a while I can get a message, and then it takes a couple of days, maybe it takes weeks. When they hit me back, bro, they're busy, bro. So basically, is this, man? This guy right here you see across the screen is this Mexican dude. He's non-affiliated. He's not even a gang member. He's not part of no SNY gang like everybody was saying, bro. And I was seeing posts about that, and I was like, man, here we go, bro. People just make up stuff. Like if I don't know about it, bro, then I won't really talk about it. I'll speculate on certain aspects that I know I can speculate on, but that's about it, bro. But they were quick to be like, oh, it was a SNY gang member. He was extorting Tory Lanez. I'm like, bro, it don't work like that on the SNY, bro. Trust me when I tell you that. Look, from a prison standpoint, a convict standpoint, yeah, he looks like he stabbed people before in prison. He's caught time for stabbing people before in prison. He got time for getting caught with a bunch of weapons, manufactured weapons and stuff like that. So the dude's known to carry bangers and stab people on the yard.
Why didn't you say what else
but
he known
don't
for?
give this man any kind of credit. Don't give him any kind of fame and recognition, which everybody already has because they're bloggers, they're YouTubers, they're this, they're that. Fine. Sometimes you got to do your backstory. And your
Can't confirm this story, and we probably won't never get the real story until Tory Lanez decides to tell us what actually happened. Whack 100 responded to Renegade Media, calling him a dropout, and if you watch his content, certainly is getting all his gang tattoos removed from his face. Whack 100 claimed that dude didn't know what he was talking about, and he also gave us an update on everything going on with Tory Lanez.
I told y'all from the beginning when he was on the street, I said, yo, when that phone call came out and everybody was like, yo, I said, when he said all that was his fault or whatever, he wasn't talking about shooting the bro.
Exactly. Exactly.
I told y'all all
I'm about hurting their feelings.
He ain't shoot that girl. He ain't shoot that girl. The phone call y'all hearing from jail is him telling her all this my fault and referring to me for y'all. Right?
Exactly.
And him doing whatever he was doing.
I had y'all beefing. I got y'all fighting each other. I got you shooting at your best friend. I'm sorry. That's all he was saying. That's what I'm saying, bro. Y'all took that as him admitting that he shot that woman. That's what y'all took that as. When I heard it, I knew he was just apologizing and feeling bad that he had them two at odds with each other to the point where they fought each other and one of them pulled out a gun and shot at the other one. That's something that a man that care about two women would and should do. But no, y'all heard that and said, oh no, he's guilty. He's guilty. He's guilty.
But the DA know. Y'all did 3 tests. You brought one to court. You brought the one to court that said we can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Then you did 2 more after the fact that said it's not him. All the way negative. And then you didn't want to test the DNA against the chick. They never tested the DNA against the chick. Now,
exactly. Wouldn't that make sense? Wouldn't that make sense if they told us, listen, if they told us that it was multiple weapons. I mean, not, I'm sorry, y'all, not multiple weapons, but if they told us that it was multiple DNA fingerprints on this weapon, why would you only, and you got 4 people inside the vehicle, why would you only test Tory? Why not test everybody else? I guess everybody but Meg. Why not test everybody else? Even her. Shit, even her. Why you ain't just test everybody? Y'all.
I was like, oh, girl, because I told you, I said, yo, somebody sent
Especially if it's
that
a
message in that to her.
inconclusive.
It don't even
It didn't
make
say, oh
sense.
yeah, his DNA on there. Y'all
So
said
for
it
that
said
white lady to
inconclusive,
say,
but y'all ain't gonna check everybody else.
and we just turned in the evidence from the security guard identifying old girl was the shooter, and then the next day he get hit. Because them happened to overturn that case against this man. That's a bad thing on LA County. That's a bad thing. They wasn't, this here 14 times. They was trying to get him out of here. I ain't discrediting what that lady said at all, not one bit. Cause it don't make sense. There's other dropout North thing, whatever this name is, come out with the Tory was flirting with the dude's wife in the visiting area, and then told the dude, your wife like that ain't even Tory character. If that been on that, he'd have been in trouble in that penitentiary. He'd have been doing. I paid you to say that. My sources, what sources you got? You a North thing, you're a dropout. So what sources you got? This is a South Side of dropout.
Right. That's another thing. I mean, not that he called himself a dropout or whatever, but if you a dropout and you removing your tattoos and leaving the gang, but how do you still got contacts inside the gang, inside the prison? I don't know. I don't know how the politics work. Let
But
me
when
stay
you
out of
look at his
that. My
profile,
bad, y'all. Let me
he
stay out
fit
of
the
that. I'm
description of
sorry.
his sin, type of
My
sin.
bad.
You in here for 10-year-old. Based upon that, they done already did what they done did with him. Now they like, you want to make good on something? Handle that. Ain't no way Tory said he ain't even see it coming. So I've been saying, I said, yo, bro, somebody sent dude. Straight up. Where the petition at? Anybody petition that? Put the petition up?
Yeah, I signed that
I
joint
ain't seen it.
today.
I can't find. What is it? Is it change.org or something?
I signed it today. Did y'all sign the
Anybody got
petition?
the petition?
Go
Where the
sign the petition,
petition at?
y'all.
We need all the
Please.
signatures we can get.
Been a lot of news breaking behind Tory Lanez being poked up 14 times. I seen Chris Brown and other celebrities standing with Tory Lanez, and I also seen people lying against him. Through it all, I always believed Tory Lanez was innocent. I'm not gonna lie though. When I first heard it, for a moment, I did think, what if Meg took off on Tory and put him on his pockets, and then Meg got up busted? But for real, I can't see Tory actually popping Meg. Like for what? And then when it came out that he was smashing the whole crew, nah, bro, I'm not going for that. I see exactly what's going on. I think Megan Thee Stallion just started feeling embarrassed and started saying anything. She already got caught lying, so at that point, anything out her mouth is subject to be a lie. Hopefully, Tory Lanez get well soon. I'm gonna leave a link to the petition in the comment
Yes,
section.
sir. Y'all
Free
go
Tory
sign
Lanez.
that.
But let me know what you think in the
Free
comment
30.
section. And make sure you hit that like button.
One
Let's get the
umbrella.
video to 100 likes once we pass 100.
One umbrella.